So, hello Year 8 and welcome to the second lesson looking at your climate change project. We're still going with the topic of Earth and atmosphere. We're near the end now, just one more lesson next week, finishing off your climate change project, and then it is your end of topic test. But first, there's one really important message I need to give you. Thank you. Thank you so much for all those of you who have worked really hard to get this done. It's not easy, I know that. Firstly, this is the first time we've run this climate change project with Year 8. We're doing a new course with Year 8 and we really had no idea whether this was going to work, whether you were going to cope with the demands of this project. And from what I've seen so far, you've done absolutely brilliantly. The fact that you've managed to organise yourself into those groups and complete the work together is amazing, particularly given that you're all at home. When this was put together, I obviously envisaged that I would be there in a computer room with you, able to help you if you had any problems. You'd be able to talk to each other to sort yourselves out. And the fact that you have managed to do that at home by yourself via email or whatever other social media networking you're using is absolutely brilliant, and I honestly have been blown away by some of you guys. So well done. I've tried to look at all of those projects that you've submitted over the weekend. I can't promise I've seen all of them. I also apologise deeply. I didn't realise, I'm still learning, I didn't realise on Google Classroom that when the team leader submitted the document, that meant that the rest of you couldn't access it either. So I'm learning, you're learning, we're all learning, that's what school's about. But thank you for your patience and for your understanding and for doing such a good job. I just wanted to flag up a few projects that I saw that I thought were brilliant, off to an absolutely fantastic start. That's not to say they're the only ones. So if I haven't picked yours, it's not that yours wasn't as good, it's just these are the ones that really caught my eye when I was flicking through, and I've tried to pick one from each class. So group 5, 8 AM, we've got Camille's company here. You can see some lovely pictures, loads of information, doing exactly what we wanted. So very well done, Camille and company. I didn't make this name up. They've called themselves Dream Team 13, Group 13 there from, I think probably 8KFD. Doing some brilliant work there, lovely diagrams again, effects of global warming, consequences, filling in what is the greenhouse effect. So very, very well done, Dream Team 13. Group 15, also probably 8KFD. Sam and Sophie's stars here. We've got some lovely pictures. I just wanted to flag these guys up. They decided that the 3 pages was not enough for them, so particularly people A and B wanted more space, so they have added an extra page to their document to put in all the information they wanted. So well done them. I have no problem with this whatsoever. Ted's team, Group 19, this is probably AMJI, again lots of lovely pictures, discussing the questions and just working collaboratively as a team to get all the job done. Annie's Army, Group 26 here, so these guys again filling in the project, completing the questions as I wanted, working collaboratively as a team. This one from 8OTJ. And finally, I thought I'd pick out this one, Tushi's Tigers from Group 40, 8RCP. Very, very nice in terms of colour, lots of use of pictures to emphasise what they're saying in the text. Like I say, these were not necessarily the best ones or the only ones that were this good. They were the ones that just caught my eye as I was flicking through. So well done to them, well done to all of you who submitted nice, colourful, finished documents. And if you didn't use pictures, don't worry, it probably just meant that you've got all of your information in the text. Two of you, people A and B, and remember this does not need to be the same people A and B as last week, they are looking for evidence that supports man-made climate change. So anything that supports the idea that the climate is changing, the world's getting hotter, and that men are the cause of that. So you're going to have to look through for some claims, you're going to have to review theories, and you're going to have to interrogate sources. You should do independent research for this section. Remember to write down all of the sources that you need. This is so important. As it says there, you're looking for evidence that 1, the world is getting warmer, and 2, that this warming is being caused by man-made effects and not natural effects. So that's the evidence you're looking for. The links on the previous pages will provide a good starting point for the evidence. Look at the master documents. If you've deleted them, as I said there, you can go back hopefully and find the template. You must find some websites, documents, books of your own to show your independent research. Okay, you must find some of your own. You'll almost certainly want to include some tables or graphs in this section. It's 2 pages long to allow space for figures, graphs and tables. A and B will research evidence for man-made global warming. Student C will research evidence against the idea. When presenting the evidence, you should say whether you think it comes from a source that is reliable and whether you think that the evidence is biased, okay? So let's have a look at the sorts of things you can use. You can go and look at news articles. This one here is from BBC News, quite recent, 29th of May. UK weather, sunniest spring since records began. And you must reference all sources on page 8. So something like this. So 1, BBC News article, 29th of May 2020, and there is the URL. Basically, so that if somebody from the exam board wants to check your source, they can find it. That's what you need to give, enough evidence that they can find the source that you used. Where's the evidence? Well, actually in this document they do give the evidence. They talk about the Met Office, they talk about 500 hours of sunshine, but on Wednesday the UK had clocked up 570, so they're giving facts. They're giving solid facts to suggest that it was the sunniest spring since records began hundreds of years ago, 124 years ago. So they have provided evidence. Do I trust the source? Well, I personally do. I trust the BBC. They're reliable. Does the source have any reason to lie? Well, yes, they do. Because obviously more sensational stories get more readers. However, the BBC does pride itself on being factual, impartial, and they won't want to be making stuff up or sensationalising stories if it can be shown to be untrue, because that will dent their reputation. So they have a reason to not lie, to try and present the truth as it is. Here's a tweet from Jersey Met Office. Again, you know, it's a tweet about a picture, but this shows the temperature of the last 126 years of temperature records, where blue is the coldest year on record and red is the hottest year. And I think just this picture sums up beautifully how the world is getting hotter. They've actually done nothing except just present data, and from that we are inferring, we can see the pattern. The coldest years are to the left, 126 years ago. The hottest years are mostly to the right. The world is warming up. Now, this was the original URL that I found this tweet from. Up here, if you know how to do so, you can always cut it down, because this URL here takes you to exactly the same thing as the one at the top, but only chop these down if you know how to do it. Again, reference all your sources on page 8. Jersey Met on Twitter. Where's the evidence? Well, it's presented within that picture. Do you trust the source? Yeah, it's a Met Office. They're not really making any claims here. They're just literally presenting their data. Does the source have any reason to lie? No, not that I can think of here. There's nothing obvious to me as to why the Jersey Met Office would lie about their data. All they're doing is they're presenting their evidence. Sometimes it is harder to know whether to trust a source, so I found this one. Climate Exchange. How much climate change is natural? How much is man-made? It's by a person I don't know, from a university I don't know. So how am I supposed to judge whether or not that's trustworthy? Well, I look for clues. This guy here is the director of the climate change study. So he's well informed. He definitely has access to the facts and knows what he's talking about, but he's definitely biased. His job depends on climate change. So of course he wants to present evidence that shows climate change is happening and it's dangerous and it's caused by man. But the thing that does make me trust this article is the fact that there's lots of links to facts. There's constant links to other websites showing the facts that he's talking about. And a document like that is well linked, showing you where they've got their sources from, is usually far more reliable than a document that is just someone's opinion with no indication of where that opinion came from. So look for that. Look for documents that are well linked, showing you where they got their facts from. Then, of course, we've got Donald Trump. A tweet from Donald. Patrick Moore, co-founder of Greenpeace. The whole climate crisis is not only fake news, it's fake science. There is no climate crisis. There's weather and climate all around the world. And in fact, carbon dioxide is the main building block of all life. Is this trustworthy? Well, I think we can all agree that Trump is not trustworthy and is certainly biased. He doesn't want climate change to be real because a lot of the the USA industry depends on oil and oil reserves, and he's priding himself, or was priding himself, on a strong US economy. So he doesn't want to anger all of his backers by even vaguely suggesting climate change might be real. But he's quoting this guy from Greenpeace, the co-founder of Greenpeace, Patrick Moore, who's saying that it's fake. Oh, that is a bit worrying, because you would expect people from Greenpeace to be on the other side. However, the co-founder of Greenpeace says climate change is a hoax and he may be trustworthy. But dig a little deeper. From Greenpeace, Patrick Moore was not a co-founder of Greenpeace. He does not represent Greenpeace. He is a paid lobbyist, not an independent source. His statements have nothing to do with that of Greenpeace. Just to say that people from people C and D will be giving the opposite argument. Many people who dispute global warming is happening, or they do accept that there's global warming, but they disagree that humans are the cause. So in this box, you should provide arguments from the alternative point of view. So things like there are natural cycles in the temperature of the Earth. The warming could be caused by solar activity. The warming could be caused by changes in ocean currents. Again, as with people A and B, write down all the sources, add them to page 8. People A and B have a slightly easier task. They can either work completely together, or person A could work on that page and person B could work on this page, and then they can just check that they haven't duplicated information. Supporting climate change is a slightly easier task because there's far more evidence for that. People C and D, if there is a person D, otherwise person C, just fill in a page. That's absolutely fine. Don't worry if you've only got 3 people in your group, okay? You're welcome to certainly leave one of these pages blank if there's only one of you doing it. The references I've said is the most important page. It shows you've done your research. It should be different from every other group, and it must include references that I have not given you, okay? So I'll be looking for at least a couple of references that you have found yourself. It doesn't have to be every single person in the group, but as long as there are some references from someone that isn't what I've given you. Note that this is just a list of the references. Any discussion of the references, e.g. bias, does not go here. It goes in the main pages. Most of all, good luck with this. It is an experiment. The whole point is the process here, that you guys are doing what it says on the syllabus. You're looking for evidence, you're saying whether you believe the evidence, and you are writing a conclusion, really, based on that evidence. I'm not going to ask for you to submit this document. I'm not going to look at them this week. So just do your bit. Next week you'll complete those documents and submit them, and that's the point when I will really look in detail at everything you have done. So while I suggest you do this during your normal timetabled chemistry lesson this week, if you choose to do it later on in the week, as long as it is done this week, brilliant. You should now spend about half an hour to 40 minutes doing your best, finding the sources, writing your bit. Good luck.